the time. This time around, we'll be going on to the Viper, which they've only played twice. So this could be a pretty interesting little swap up here. But given the fact that Bob is coming back into the lineup, this is one of those things where maybe Blue Otter have a couple of tricks up their sleeves, or at least they're going to mimic exactly how BOXR want to be playing.
Well, they got tricks up their sleeve. They also got a shot into BOXR very, very early. Ooh, fun Sage wall from Moose, who's going to be on top of that, trying to get an angle on top of this Viper's wall, and it works out against Zoe. And Water happy to use their own Sage wall to defend themselves during the plant. And Moose just uses it as an obstacle, but he gets punished. Heads up play from Fair. Now, you have a bit of a chaotic situation. 3 versus 3. The wall's broken down. Fair ready to react as soon as anyone touches the spike, and well, McNutty's crazy with it. Just jumping around the corner with the right click classic. 2 versus 2 coming down to the wire. And BOXR still have to take the space and try to defuse, and they're on top of the spike. They could be on top of this round unless Bob, she could be the queen and deny it, but Sacred stays on the high ground, and it's king of the hill.
And yeah, so that is going to be a box of rockets finding that first round. I'm feeling like Liz right now. I'm fighting the urge to say Landor because up until now they've been a Landor. But once again, just really leaning on how that last match went between these two teams. You can't help but come into this one if you are Blue Water and feel a little bit intimidated by what lays in front of you. And as a reminder, this is the qualification for Box of Rockets. So if they do beat out Blue Water, which they're coming into this one feeling like they should be able to do that, then they find themselves in playoff, whereas Blue Water are really just fighting for survival. So excellent first round coming through. We're seeing the individual members of Box of Rockets start to kind of pop off there. And I'm assuming we're going to continue to see that as Moose scooping up the orb very early on, while Chaotic up top with the Outlaw, just looking for someone to slip through.
Chaotic was doing just that on that first round, just getting already in Blue Water's face before they could even discover what tempo is. Now you got an army of sheriffs or BOXR. Ooh, quick flick from Chaotic. And Blue Water gonna maybe want to respect that, but how do you throw util or smokes in Chaotic's face to make him uncomfortable? Well, that's exactly what Fireball does, gets him out of position. Unfortunately, Blue Water is just going to lose bodies. And maintain this distance, they'll try to use maybe their Sage Wall here from Zeke to plan again, but I don't know if they can get away with the same strat, especially when you have Moose on top, and he can't seem to get away.
Really feels like it's whoever's up top, they're going to be able to find a kill. A very similar barrier orb this time around, but it's a bit more damage implemented this time, as it will be the retake coming in from Box of Rockets.
Been pretty good at tempoing up when it comes down to it. But trades back and forth as BOXR just gonna brawl and box their way through these little corridors while Chaotic takes the mantle, takes the high ground. And Blue Water have to just sit back and let this one go. So BOXR get a strong start here on Icebox.
That's so funny there. I'm not sure if people realized it, but Chaotic goes for the reload with the Bulldog to fake it so the Blue Water member swings out around the side, and T-Dog's just waiting with the Spectre there. Like, it was a pure bait play, and it worked out perfectly, just guaranteeing the kill without really using any utility to flush. I believe it was Zostal just on the other side of that corner. So a very dominant start for Box of Rockets. Blue Water going Vandals across the board, one-shot headshots, hoping for the best here. But thus far, it's been pretty dominant coming out from Box of Rockets. The control of that A side feels extremely strong, and their players aren't afraid to just kind of be a little bit more rambunctious, kind of send it in, play in some of these crazier spaces, and then when they happen to link up with their squad members, then that's when you really see the kills come through.
Blue Water just trying to scale up and use their drone, play off of information, and swing as a squad when BOXR have been pretty forward and aggressive up until this point. So now it's just trying to stop Blue Water from planting and really fully utilizing Zeke in those moments. But BOXR are happy to play as far back as they can now and just react to Blue Water.
I mean, look at all the presence that they've made on the other side of the map as well. That pinch is going to be key to really dismantling this offense. As Blue Water, they're really taking their time. And sure, they've got that Killjoy turret watching the back here, but the time has just been ticking down. So the Box of Rockets have so much control of this map right now.
BOXR just playing out of sight, out of mind. This could be timing on the swing. We'll have Chaotic making contact with the turret. Now the flank ensues, and Blue Otter, no, they can't waste any time, and so Stoll won't waste a single bullet. Incredible double kill. Surely the swing around in their favor. And Zolsol hasn't stopped yet. And unfortunately, that flank for Chaotic just didn't come into fruition until the whole team was dead. So... Oh, wait a minute. Whoa,
Okay.
whoa, 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 whoa. What's Chaotic? What are we doing? We're racing here? Are we doing it? Can isolate the one. Oh, but just looked at the wrong angle against Bob. So Blue Otter take their first rifle round.
Sweating for just a second there where you're
Yeah,
like, wow, those were really clean shots. But that time around, like, notice how just the utility works out a little bit differently based off the positioning. Moose not using the barrier orb so early on to isolate some of those. Nice little freeze frame on that flick there. But it allows Zostal to just walk through. The Viper's consistently gone on the left side of that box, but usually just gets zoned out thanks to that barrier orb. Without that, is able to just walk through, rifle in hand, find all the kills necessary. So a bit of miscommunication by the sounds of it from BOXR Rockets, just not expecting that little push through. And it's feigning presence from Blue Water. Zeke goes in to pick up the Resurrect, so that is one ultimate online here. As we see that Blue Water continue to just kind of control the space, not really yielding, not really pushing in any direction just quite yet.
And a lot of A hits from Blue Water. Just thinking they could leverage this wall the best that way and keep their KJ turret behind for any flanks. This has been the foolproof plan for Blue Water, at least on rifle rounds. And now just abandoning this and leaving Zeke inserted, which I thought they would have want him part of the party with the Resurrect. And oh, down below him, he's just stacked with Fair. And I guess it's 2 against the world. And Blue Water crack open A like an egg.
Yeah, they crack it open, but actually they're more interested in going onto this B site, which could be interesting to say that, but Fireball Ops working the way through mid, finds Sacred, not even really giving an opportunity for BOXR Rockets to set up their defense there. So honestly, just outclassed on all fronts here from Blue Water. Like the fact that they're able to find the 2 necessary kills and already are able to control mid, like that map control works heavily in their favor. And so this is just going to be a save being called from BOXR Rockets. Moose already does have that Resurrect online, but McNutty just wanting to hold on to that rifle to try and carry that forwards into the next round to stand a chance against this Blue Water squad, which look a lot better on this round.
Just this Blue Otter core of Zeke, Zostal, Bob, they've been together for the season and just trying to add the right pieces to really complement and to find a stable ground and even some more kills while you're at it. And this has been a core that is trying to pull off the big upset and ends up with a flawless in their favor, so forcing a lot of repurchases, but ultimately a save from BOXR coming up.
That was a cinematic angle and a half. Holy crap. Stuff coming through from the observers there. Yeah, love to see that. But all those points that you made are extremely valid coming into this next round. I mean, Blue Water, just off of some of those really just dry swings, I want to say, finding the timing to catch your opponent off guard are what really seal the deal on that round. 4 BOXR Rockets here. They're just going to have Sheriffs coming into this next one. And T-Dog will be one away from having the Hunter's Fury online. But still, we're seeing not that many answers. As well, at least it's a trade to start us off.
Jeez. The fight for this orb becomes so perilous when both teams have a slow orb, but only one has a res. Because, you know, Moose is dead. But Blue Water get their forces back on their feet, and they're able to get a deep drone all the way at the back exit of A. So that means Blue Water only have to focus on screens, but McNutty had his shots more focused than fair at that point. So now the Sheriffs have to try and retake. It's not going to be fun for Sacred and McNutty, which hilarious name. But wait, Sacred's kind of nice with it. He's on top of screens. McNutty is about to go into the sideline. Does a bit of a drive-by for information, but still has to try and win this with less HP and dances against the fire and wins it. So it's Bob, the 1 versus 1. Very submissive and thriftyable for BOXR. Did hear the drop down though. Bob just has to play patient but not choke, and it's the shock trying to get damage into McNutty.
No way.
Wait, spike's not going to be held, and Bob stabilizes the team for the third round.
Bobsta comes out on top. Blue Water, like you said, find their third round here. But once again, what's more important is Bob, she saves the money for the team. So this way, they're able to continue to buy up the rifles coming into this next one. Also now has the ultimate online, so she can use that Hunter's Fury at a moment's notice to try and flush some of this out, especially with McNutty getting very close to having that lockdown available. You know, crazy shots coming through. I do admit, from BOXR Rockets, things were looking good. A little worried about that shock dart. I thought the bounce would have been more than enough, but turns out Bob, she's going to be good for just a swing. Fair, already going in deep.
Right, Fair has to try and go toe-to-toe against Chaotic, and see if you can dislodge BOXR from the back, and that's a butter knife. Where is the kill, though? And Blue Water are on the chase. It's a hunt. BOXR are prey, and Moose falls first. Or second, I should say. And Blue Water have been really good at securing A. It's going to go even better now that you get the Viper's Pit from Zostal. But BOXR loom around. T-Dog won't be able to use the Hunter's Fury, which would have been a great tool to zone off the Viper's Pit and everyone from these nooks and crannies. So ultimately, Blue Water had the better game plan.
Yeah, and Blue Water, like, it feels so dominant from them. They're just continuing to attack A side and finding great success with not really having to worry about playing mind games or anything. When we saw that B side hit, you know, it was a feint onto A, and then, oh, you know, send Fireball Ops up middle to get all that pressure, and then that way it's a nice and easy plant, and we zone them out, all that type of stuff. When they hit A, it just is clean execution coming across the board. They're making sure to set up their utility exactly how they want. We see the wall come up. We see them clear out the different areas there. And BOXR Rockets have been really struggling. They are making the read, though. Chaotic going in deep.
Ooh, wait, Chaotic. Getting first blood like that is sick, especially when you're on a pretty terrible buy. Let's get traded out, but it does get the attention of BOXR. While the rest of Blue Water try to clear through B. Got angles being taken around B. Pretty much every duel that Blue Water are taking to kind of stretch this defense thin is going Blue Water's way. So being able to carry through all these rifles, look how rich Blue Water are too. This is really how you carry through almost a 5-round win streak once this closes out.
And I know what you're going to say. It's like Spox. You're doing the same thing over and over again. Everything is going to be nice and happy. You expect the same results. But I got to praise Blue Water in this moment right now because they're doing an excellent job of just keeping control of the map. We talked about how the A side, they're very dominant on it. They make sure that they always are able to take that pretty effectively. BOXR Rockets, they understand that. They make an adaptation. This time, we're going to have 4 members here. We're going to send our jet in. It's going to be great. Everyone's going to have a great time. But Blue Water still have the dominant map control. And so rotation all the way around to B is nice and easy because of the space that Fireball Ops and Zostal have already taken while that scrimmage was happening onto that A site. Blue Water are really controlling the map very effectively on this attack. And it doesn't seem like BOXR Rockets really have any counter strat to that. They're just hoping that they can kind of win out the kills when they go into these duels.
Okay, Fair. Just insane with it. Chaotic still holds on to the op. While Zeke can go for the res, but not if Chaotic just kills everyone behind the res. And Zeke, I don't even know if he still wants to do it with an op looming off in the horizon. At least you've silenced Chaotic for good, and McNutty and Sacred have ults, so activating the pit, Sacred still wants this real estate. And it's a 2 versus 2, despite all the work that Fair did. You have now a fair matchup with the defensive pit still standing and Blue Water on the perimeter. They even think about switching sites or wrapping around through the staircase of screens. This is forcing odd rotations and almost a very risky 1v1 from Bob if she didn't win that with a spike. And I cursed it. That's my bad. Use the duel though. Wait a minute. Oh, the clutch at the end from Sacred. After Blue Water started off, that flashy marks, I'm surprised the round went BOXR's way there.
I was gonna say, like, you know, I thought that the pit was a little bit preemptive. It covered a majority of the site. You know, make sure that there's not as many sight lines, especially after Fair kind of popped off. the way that he did here, I mean, those are just disgusting shots. But, you know, the pick goes up and immediately Blue Otter respond so intelligently. They know they have a minute left on the clock. They know they've got time to do stuff. And so they're going to just chill out and wait to play a pick. And then it kind of works out. But unfortunately, they got lost in the sauce.
Oh, fair versus chaotic. I think everyone else should log off, and I want to see these two Jets face off because they have been... It's been a chess match, but the support system of BOXR this time is just that much stronger. Helping Chaotic secure the ground and making it so Blue Water can't traverse that easily. Now the slow warp to the left side, making it so Blue Water can focus on the right, but BOXR even get back up to all 5. Both teams managed to res, but a Hunter's Fury from T-Dog's hoping to punish where this Sage ended up going. Gets some tags, but ultimately not the kills that BOXR really needed in that moment. Blue Water come out ahead in the duels. A great wall from Zeke as they pave their way towards the end of the site. It's always coming down to these 1v1s, 2v2s, but only one lockdown to rule them all. And it's Blue Water that have to abandon the spike and go quite far from it, which is not going to be so comfortable for them, as Blue Water are going to decide at the last second to fight. The detain from Bob! Oh, as soon as she goes to take that 1v1, leaving T-Dog to try and get the defuse. Zostal still lurking. A lot of difficult decisions being forced onto Blue Otter, but maybe this one is simple. Play your life. You're at 20 HP, can't avoid the tag from the recon, so scrambles to deny the defuse, and it's not gonna check it. Did not hear the second tap, and it's the clutch from T-Dog for BOXR.
The fact that it comes down to that, I mean, it was crazy. Bob still somehow fragging out in the middle of it was just kind of like, you know what? I'm going to get detained anyways. Why don't I just make the best of not a great situation? And just walks it down, almost finds T-Dog as well. Just the last second gets detained, forcing it down to this 1v1. And Zostal unfortunately had already used the snake bite, so no molly, no stall available. But T-Dog, you know, pros don't fake. And T-Dog just kind of stuck that all the way to the end, and the defuse comes through. So one round now separating these two teams. Gonna be a Blue Water switch up on the attack. You see BOXR Rockets, they were being defensive outside of that A site, but understanding that T-Dog no longer has the lockdown, it's gonna be a nice, clean, easy lockdown for Blue Water.
Okay, you got McNutty getting out of dodge from the lockdown, but sight lines will be blocked from the Viper's pit. Shock Bolt will be at the feet of Bob, who still stands unaffected. And now getting to play off the Hunter's Fury. This is going to be an important edge for Blue Otter. But how does that cut? It was a good molly from BOXR to make these yellow box defenders, post planters, I should say, uncomfortable. But this BOXR takeover is something else. But Fireball Ops is clean. It's on top of the box. Gets the second. Offensive Hunter's Fury has to be invested from Bob to deny the defuse. Another tap from Moose. Fireball goes toe-to-toe. Now the spike being held only halfway, and now the classic has to come out. That was way too hectic for me, Marks.
The Fireball Ops 4K comes through for Blue Otter. And I want to say, like, a lot of this programming that's been done from Blue Otter on where they've been going is starting to take its toll on BOXR Rockets. You see, immediately they feign that pressure towards A. You see BOXR Rockets immediately stack up towards A and hope for the best there. But this 5-person rush from Blue Water that is met completely uncontested. They don't have to worry about too much. Sure, they use the lockdown in the midst of all of that just to double down on that space, but it's such a clean round from them. Fair going in immediately. T-Dog didn't even see it coming.
Nah, I feel like he had all the time in the world to shoot fair there, but just got rolled, unfortunately for him. And I guess spamming through the smoke. Fair lucky once again, but punish. Now the backline reinforces Sacred with a double kill off the pistol. Now plays around with Moose, but Blue Water try to get angles around. You still have Zeke that was on the high ground, giving extra pressure to the back, and it's 7-4 for Blue Water.
Yeah, and it's just so clean. Like, you see the pressure that Chaotic can kind of push onto Blue Water there. I mean, obviously this Jet isn't finding, Fair. Obviously this Jet is finding value when the rush in onto that A side happens, and BOXR Rockets, like, it feels like their hands are tied. It feels like they have to invest a little bit more on that initial defense for that A side, because otherwise it's just going to be Blue Water completely walking all over them. And as a result of that, like, it leaves the rest of the map more open towards them. So we're going to be seeing Fair now pop the Blade Swarm right off the bat. Last round in this half, it's a different look yet again, a 3-person push up mid.
Oh, but any route you choose is being heavily guarded, and McNutty, a big double kill to shut down not only the ult, but Blue Water's chances of getting any kind of ball rolling. Good trade too, shut down Fireball and trying to cut down through B-Link, and Blue Water barely hold on. They'll defend with the wall and with the plant, the shock bolt on the other side, and McNutty just can't stabilize against all the firepower. 1v1, Bob versus T-Dog. One's healthier than the other. And BOXR has full util as well. Recon included.
Scanning ahead.
Okay, that's not going to get the tag. Oh, until the last second, Bob thought they were out of the radius, and actually Bob gets a counter tag too with her recon, and the spike's not going to get held, and Bob gambled correctly. Time running out, and that'll be Blue Water with an 8-4 half, and the kill just for the lulz, I guess.
Yep. Bob just playing the mind games there. You can see the frustration on T-Dog. Unfortunately, because those shock bolts got let go so early on to try and find that kill, you just don't find any value, and you just kind of have to hold it down and hope for the best here. But bit of a mix-up and allowing McNutty to get a lot more value than they should have, while meanwhile the just storm in onto the site works out for Blue Water to make sure that they win things out. So 8-4.5. Going to be swapping things around. Blue Water, very consistent across the board. Like, look at their kills, 12, 11, 11, 11, and 10. Meanwhile, on the other side, BOXR Rockets, it really has been Sacred who's been really leading the charge for stopping the players going onto the site, but I'm hoping that we get to see Chaotic start to turn it up a little bit now that they've flipped around to attack.
Yeah, Sacred, especially with the Sheriff's, been nasty. This time, he'll just show off with the Ghost. Still very powerful. A good start for BOXR as they hope to get the chase down on Zostol. Is going to leave smoke behind and decide they can't escape, so one of you is going down with me. T-Dog's going to respect it, just play the power of friendship. BOXR could just overwhelm. Okay, where Zostol was going, but uses the smoke to escape. Now the retake from Blue Water with the whole squad around. Zeke forward and unpunished until this moment as BOXR scale up, and it's just Fair and Zostol both on the low ground now to stop the plant. That's all they have to do is slow it down, but with how forward Zostol is, you're just hoping to bait so that Fair can swing off of that contact.
Oh.
Not expecting Zostol to be that forward, but a 4K from Sacred. Pistols, name of the game for this guy.
Yeah, great stuff there. I mean, I thought for sure, like, Zostol kind of tucked away in the fact that there's no way people check him. And you can see the panic on McNutty's face when you see the Viper just immediately right-click your head because you're running into him. And Sacred coming up clutch, boosting that kill net count up to 15 on the pistol round. Once again, is one of the members who's a bit more better in those clutch scenarios. When the pressure is really on, when you're kind of coming down to the final members of your team, then we really get to see Sacred start to pop off. This time, Scooby-Doo map, one team on one side, the other team completely on the other side, ships passing in the night, as that means that BOXR should have a nice, easy entry in. Of note, Fair and Bob, they do have a Marshall online, which could be good if they find those headshots, but armor across the board for BOXR Rockets.
Just choosing the moment of when you want to drop down the Sacred Viper wall and have open sightlines into Snowman, which even the Vandal could probably do more work than the Marshall, but let's see if I cursed it. This Blue Water may have to dash using Fair, who also bought the Marshall, but only one Marshall remains. And it's Chaotic. No Vandal kill quite yet, but important heals for Moose, as Blue Water just hoping to die to Spike, do what they can, because time's running out, and you still haven't even touched the Sage Wall. Just gonna go around it. And this got chaotic real fast, but BOXR ends up bringing 4 weapons into the bonus.
Yeah, and that's going to be really important. Like, you see the moment where that wall comes down and you're like, oh, let's see how this one plays out. And immediately it's just like, oh, and, you know, bit of shenanigans happening on this site. But BOXR Rockets, once again, they've got better weapons. They can spray a little bit better against those pistols. And so it works out in their favor. BOXR Rockets, 2 rounds away from potentially tying up the series. Blue Water taking the composition of their opponents and making it their own have still looked pretty fantastic. But this is going to be really the testing round to see whether or not their defense is as good as their offense. As Fair is taking a forward angle there, but immediately backs off after that Owl drone gets that information. While it is a bit of a plunder on this B site, thanks to Zeke's annoying barrier orb.
Yeah, so suspicious. Blue Water are used to having fair and chaotic matchup for the orb. Something sticking out of that KJ's head, and BOXR just gonna full commit onto B main here. Gonna be a tough engagement for Zeke after already investing the slow orb. So you're trying to fight for yellow box control. And I don't know if Zostal can really bail you out, but here is the swingers, the flood from BOXR, the chase down, the punish on Zeke, and Trade's trying to come out. This Fireball does what he can to secure the B site, but BOXR have evicted Blue Otter from the spot. Wow, a tag with that. Okay, Chaotic gets the last laugh, and it's up to Fair in a 1 versus 3 with the pit all over the place. But hey, Chaotic had to crouch and had to tried to aim. Fair gets a chance to strike and even maybe get around this pit, trying to use BOXR's weapons against them. Now that's annoying.
Let's go down, though. Excellent job from BOXR Rockets to stall time.
Yeah, BOXR don't even have to peek it. At least both of them don't have to peek it. If anything, Sacred should, because they had less HP, but Blue Otter now in the lead, which pretty important, or still in the lead, I should say, which BOXR catching up with the 3-round win streak. After winning that pistol, it's pretty important.
You know what's kind of crazy? The fact that Sacred had the Viper's Pit on the 3rd round in the half. That is, I mean, I remember the last patch where they increased the amount of ultimate orbs it costed to use the ultimate for Viper, and yet still Sacred gets it online so early on, and I really do think that was so important at winning the round for BOXR Rockets, because even if they didn't find those kills, the long sight lines of those Vandals would not be as effective. So excellent kind of heads up, proactive play coming in from BOXR Rockets, really to secure that round and force Blue Water back onto the save, with Fair being the only person bringing in a judge. At least Blue Water do have excellent map control. Look at how far forwards Fair is.
Wow. Insane plot armor from Blue Water's side. I don't think you'll be able to test that again, but wow. The judge is nowhere to be found, so the sheriffs have to ring true, and you'll forgive the first kill. Can't do that anymore. Moose just had to invest the res, and wait, Zeke Sheriff is on the high ground, and BOXR just gonna pressure that out, spraying through the walls. Now it's time to go plan. I love this wall from Moose. He almost got the double. Not enough damage into Fireball. Will remain at the back of screens. You got a drone from Bob trying to check out the right side, but BOXR just right below them, and Tito can secure the second. Blue Water trade. And it's a Sheriff versus McNutty. And you know what happens. 8-8.
Yeah, BOXR Rockets, excellent job. I love the aggressive barrier orb from Moose. I mean, we saw that a lot of the defense of just like, actually, they won't expect me up here. And time again, Blue Water are not expecting Moose to be up there. This time, though, only walking away with 1 kill. I gotta say, Zeke holding down that angle really made this a potential winnable scenario for Blue Water. But once again, given the weapon differential, that was a really good round coming in from them. All tied up now. Hunter's Fury for Bob. Zeke has the Resurrect online. On the other side, T-Dog just away from getting a Hunter's Fury of his own. And Chaotic taking all the space upwards.
Hey, Hunter's Fury from the defense, and Chaotic, the lights go out. Blue Water just have no idea. They've left mid completely open, and BOXR just take full advantage up until Bob shuts that down.
Oh, that's crazy. Bob also canceled the ult after 2 shots, so you see the moments where BOXR Rockets think they can get the kill, but they flounder.
One enemy remaining.
Oh, fair. It's been so clean this match thus far, but I guess somehow McNutty gets away with 3. But would have to go for the ace to save this for BOXR, and Bob kind of chokes under pressure. But the information's still valuable. McNutty maybe just getting orb and getting ult and getting out, but it's still not looking like a good round for McNutty.
I'm wondering, though, plenty of time on the clock, so McNutty might be able to get this pure wraparound, but there's so many angles to cover. So kind of on blind faith, we'll have to run towards B site. Of note, though, if that spike goes down, it is technically a winnable scenario with that lockdown available. Such low HP, though, really questions how much this stall is actually going to work. But regardless, McNutty is going to make the best effort of this. Wouldn't be surprised to see the Killjoy go a little bit deeper this time.
Yeah, Blue Water just taking this long to rotate is valuable time gone. McNutty has now time to be proactive with it, not getting tagged. It's a good sign for McNutty, and Sound on their side and tries to isolate the one and just wasn't quick enough to the trigger. And now Blue Water dance against fire, and it's Blue Water on top.
Yeah, you know what? At least no ultimate got used there. I threw it out there as a possibility, but generally speaking, if you're going into this 1v2 scenario, you almost would have to use it like bait to force the other players to try and swing on it and then play on this weird off angle to catch them off guard. But Blue Water back in the lead. They finally find a round on their defensive half. They still have more than enough ultimates to continue to add that pressure on. So we will be seeing BOXR Rockets take this time out now, really calm things down and see if they can hopefully start to slow Blue Otter's roll, because they were finally pulling things together. Things are looking good for BOXR Rockets, finding these time-ins and the chaos coming out on top. And yet it all kind of fell apart on that last round here. So still pretty close between these teams.
Yeah, BOXR have a Hunter's Fury and Bob doesn't. So there's going to be one ultimate to try and deal with the potential lockdown coming up. But it's going to be quite the round to try and break down during this timeout. Of course, that's BOXR's first timeout. And this has been a very, very close match. What started to be a 5-2 lead for Blue Water is now just barely they're scooping back up the lead. But this is so back and forth.
It really is. And, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how all these ultimates kind of come out here, because I would imagine on both of their teams during that timeout, you're talking about ways to counter what the other team can kind of throw at you. Obviously, we've got the Viper Spit available for Blue Water. Okay, well, for that, we've got the lockdown from McNutty. Well, if they use the lockdown, then Fireball Ops might use a counter lockdown. Well, we've got a Hunter's Fury to hook vision out. We're in the territory where there just could be a lot of visual clutter, for lack of better words. And already the Hunter's Fury, or sorry, it's going to be 2 ultimates as Chaotic finds Fireball Ops.
Wow. All the visual clutter, and Chaotic doesn't even care. He just finds the gap and gets a heal from Moose, so back on his feet. But BOXR are still going to be cut off with a very deep Viper's Pit still remaining.
I think that was supposed to land on top of the box, but the Viper's Pit does go down. And at this point, if you are BOXR Rockets, you're feeling pretty darn good about yourself. You got 2 ultimates taking, or sorry, just the Viper's Pit already dealt with. Fair on the other side. Oh, Chaotic goes down.
Oh, yeah. BOXR are really trapped in this scenario because Bob can cut them off. I mean, she's pushing down kitchen tubes, so kind of checking to see where this Moose, or not Moose, this McNutty turret could be, which would be on the flank usually, but not gonna get checked. And Bob, a pretty distant pick to try and get, and that means Sacred gets to not only punish, but Blue Water invests the res to get everyone back up. Important round for them to try and win, to build the win streak. Where the economy is from BOXR, it's gonna be tough now. You'll have the wall to plant, and BOXR will have the advantage for now.
Planted. You should
Oh,
run.
just missing the ponytail there of Moose, and the drop down secures the kill. And Blue Water just play this from front to back, but BOXR always ready for trades. It's taken a whole team's effort.
no.
The lockdown destroyed. Fair gets ahead of the game. He won't hesitate.
Standing.
And he continues to dismantle BOXR. And even with all the ultimates invested, Blue Water throw theirs out late to try and get on the defuse, and it's the last hurrah, and Sacred just has to deny it and just gets on the outside of the lockdown, and that decision will cost BOXR.
Wow, oh man, that is a tough round to kind of have happen to you. There were so many really good opportunities there for BOXR Rockets to be able to start to pull things back. I mean, once again, they're able to completely mitigate this Viper's Pit, and yet Fair just a little bit sharper with these knives. Bob whiffing a little bit here, but at least signals a trade, and then it's just the lockdown comes through, and the fact that BOXR Rockets didn't defend it is really where things started to fall apart. If they made sure to watch for those push forwards, then I think the lockdown could have been their ticket to success, but unfortunately they just let it slip by.
Oh, I think Fair was hurt on this rope too. At least Fireball is going to add great support to this. And just staying as hidden as they could. I'm surprised the Hunter's Fury from T-Dog didn't tag, but okay. You got the punish on Fair. That's all that matters. BOXR zoned off the rest of the team from the duelist. And now you have the sky's the limit. The map seems open too with where this lurk from McNutty is.
Fireball Ops is going to be the one to actually contest that. Wow. 1 for 1, just one tap headshots traded both ways. Zeke goes down in the midst of all of that, but BOXR Rockets now will be moving towards this B site. Chaotic can be swept up a little bit, but Moose does have this Resurrect online to try and even out the field. They have to go back, though, to secure the bodies, and Bob wrapping around here could find an excellent timing.
That smoke from Zostal is making BOXR having to re-clear through mid. They just don't want to fight into yellow against that. So BOXR gonna follow the tracks of trying to go through kitchen tube or through mid and play through the res, and now they walk and play into the hands of Blue Water. At least BOXR locking at the last second. They only have Zostal to deal with, which they had marked over at B, and well, now they know for sure where they are. Spike gets just scooped up by T-Dog, 5 HP.
Oh my goodness.
It just barely finds cover, but not for long. Blue Water up to 11.
Wow, it's Blue Water honestly just controlling the map. Those opportunities where, you know, oh yeah, here's BOXR Rockets. They're going to go for the Resurrect online. Sure, they're just missing some timings and stuff like that. It comes down to Bob finding an excellent timing because they've already got all of this space. And then Fireball Ops comes in through middle, able to just completely take them over. BOXR Rockets had no idea that all of these members were setting up, ready to pinch down on them from these different angles. As a result, Blue Water look ready to take map number 1, which was BOXR Rockets' pick here. So Zeke gonna be up against the storm though.
Okay, a good slow orb, just so if BOXR get any information, they won't be able to follow through as quickly unless they invest some updrafts, some dashes, and Chaotic is gonna stay put and try to fight through yellow, where KJ Util will be waiting, and where 3 people from Blue Water are waiting, which they couldn't have even swung off the orb. And the firing squad, the slow orb too. BOXR are so stuck. They can't even find high ground. They can't even escape. And Blue Water is going to deny any power position. And they even have the high ground advantage. Zeke, what a high IQ play. And BOXR are left in the dust.
Oh. There's Zeke coming away with 4 kills on that round. Blue Water now at map point. And I think just across the board, like, it feels like BOXR Rockets, a lot of the usual stuff that you would expect from teams and clearing things out and pushing things forwards, all of that type of stuff, it doesn't feel as cohesive as how Blue Water are, because there are so many openings where Blue Water are finding these timings of just kind of popping out here and finding multi-kills just like this. There's no real util defense coming through to prevent a lot of that damage from coming through and allowing Zeke to find a multi-kill just like that. So BOXR Rockets, I mean, if you're relying purely just on raw frag potential, they're not really using their utility to prevent a lot of that flooding from happening and allowing a lot of open space for Blue Water to just find timings on them.
These set plays from Blue Water were so nice. Like the slow orb to the whole teaming at the right place at the right time. And speaking of which, Fair opens things up and BOXR scramble to make use of the moment, but BOXR now just relying on the pit and no cigar. 13-8 for Blue Water. Man, all of our predictions are looking very wrong right now.
Yeah, we were all just like sitting back there being like, well, last time, obviously Blue Water lost. And so BOXR Rockets, this makes sense to pick them. But I'm really impressed with how Blue Water were playing. Once again, it feels like